Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, and today, over on N World, of all places, there is an article on a high level play, how to effectively do high level play in 5e. But, you know, every D&D rule set, every OSR rule set tends to break down at a certain level. So I'm just going to show you the real quick, the article here. Here we go. RPG evolution, every threat, everywhere, all at once. High level characters can beat most traps. What to do? High level characters, and that breaks down in different levels depending on the game system. I find once you start hitting fifth level spells, they are earth shattering, game changing, and that's where things start to break down in most OSR systems. 5e, I, you're starting out with superheroes, and I'm sure with D&D Next, D&D Forever, D&D 5.125, whatever they're going to call it, are going to be more powerful characters right out of the box. But what do you do when your PCs, the player characters, have so much power that you have a difficulty planning out a dungeon, right? It really is, because combat gets very swingy when you have high level characters. Because when your spellcasters are full of spells, they'll destroy whatever you put up in front of them. And then when they get low on spells, now it's like screw with the party rest. Now you may have a TPK. It is a very hard balance to hit. I suggest, personally, you change the focus. As the players are getting more powerful, well, their characters are, you should have been allowing them to make contacts, perhaps a stronghold. You want to get them involved in the larger world. The thing is, lower level characters, mid level characters, they are to some extent locals, right? And the threats they face are locals. Once you become high level, the threats you face, the level, kind of like think like superheroes, right? You know, what is the threats that Batman would face compared to Green Lantern? Green Lantern or Superman, right? More worldly and extra worldly threats. Batman more down to earth. There's a different in the power level, difference in the focus. So I would change the focus. It could be gradual, but you got to get away from the idea that dice are going to control the outcome. And I'm not saying fudge dice. I'm not saying no dice rolling. I'm not saying get away from the combat totally. But I'm thinking, and I've done this in the past, my God, back in my college days, where I changed the focus and put my players into a world of court intrigue and politics. Because, yes, you can still, hey, my thief is going to hide in shadows and try to listen in on a conversation. My magic user is going to cast a spell to listen in. Uh, my cleric can get some divine, you know, information. My my fighter, what's your fighter going to do? Well, he's going to have to like talk people up. He's going to have to be hanging out and making these connections. Because when you start switching to politics, individual power level isn't necessarily based upon class, it's based upon influence. And your players are going to be shocked when, hey, I'm a 10th level fighter, I can kill 10 0 level men in no time, and I'm specialized, I'm getting 2 attacks per round, when it doesn't matter, when court politics can get you killed. Right? You know, when you have you don't want to piss off the individuals who might have the assassins come at you. And if you're in court politics, it usually means that you've got to pick a side. Picking a side puts you in a situation where you've gained enemies. And not everything can be conquered by force. Some of this is going to have to be outthinking your enemies. At the same time, when you start dealing with politics, you start dealing with war, armies. Great way to burn off resources, gold funding, and all that other stuff, and get your players thinking about ways to how are we going to get new funding. Well, yeah, you can go into those dungeons, but maybe we got to travel the plains. Maybe you got to get them into a situation where their power level is not the power level they're used to. It kind of pulls back. Again, it's a mindset thing. It is a mind game thing, in my opinion. And it's not necessarily easy to pull off. And I think that for me, higher level campaigns work when you have resources, henchmen, family members, in-game spouses that your players are attached to, your player characters are attached to, and they can be threatened and they can be coerced to influence players' actions. All the world's a stage. You just got to move the stage as your players, your PCs, get higher in level. The other solution is to, of course, say, all right, these characters retire, which is fine and dandy. Or what we wind up doing is the high level characters came out once or twice a year. Hey, all right, listen, we're going to do a story arc in our campaign for about, I don't know, 2 to 4 sections. We see how long it plays out. It's going to be potentially world changing. And the senior characters, the high level characters, are the ones that are on the stage at that point. Because at this point, the campaign has been a secondary group of characters. So when your players, when your campaign reaches a certain point, you've got to change your focus, change your vision a bit. You can't still be doing dungeon crawl. You can. It's not going to play very well when your players start hitting certain power levels. You have to change with your players' abilities, the character's abilities. I'd like to hear your thoughts because, this article here, honestly, it says things like impossible missions, and it goes back to Mission Impossible 3. I'm not going to go through it. Impairment. Listen, your players hate it when you impair them, when you take away all their property, when you take away, like, oh, you start out the adventure already imprisoned. You don't do that shit. It is very distressing to your players themselves. Multiple obstacles. Multiple obstacles also means the DM. It's multiple things for you to keep track of. Pursuit. Oh, you're being pursued through the dungeon. Yeah. This is, again, if you change the venue, much of this changes with it. Time limits. Multiple threats in action. Again, change your focus. Change your focus from the dungeon. Change your focus to the larger world at large. Get your players involved in the nitty gritty. Maybe they're going to become merchants to make money, and then they got to defend that merchant empire. Get them thinking outside the box. Get yourselves thinking outside of the dungeon crawl. Because at high levels, dungeon crawls don't work, in my opinion. They get very swingy and wishy-washy. And you can go from, wow, they killed everything I gave them, to, holy shit, I thought that would be a fair fight, and I just TPK'd and ended my campaign. Change the venue, change the focus. So, give me some thoughts on this, folks. I like your feedback. And if you like what we do on this channel, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. It all helps. All right, folks. On that note, oh, there's a link at the bottom. That go takes you to Drive Through RPG. It's an affiliate link. By the way, Christmas in July has kicked off. Most everything is 25% off at Drive Through in PDF. These aren't print products. So I'm going to try to go over a few things that might be some good choices for my fellow listeners and viewers. All right, folks. On that note, I'll catch you later. God bless. Be good.